Owning a home is a life goal for a whole bunch of my friends. And this should be everyone's goal as well. They are like, dude, it's awesome that you own a house. It's a good thing that you timed the market right and bought that house of yours. You're not wasting money as rent. Money that we pay as rent is money down the drain. We are paying for our landlord's retirement. Such a waste of money. Well, all that is not entirely true. I've heard people say paying rent is dead money. In fact, buying a house with or without mortgage also has a certain level of so-called dead money involved. In this video, let's find out why renting a house is better than buying a house. Let's start this debate with all that dead money that we need not have to worry about when we choose to rent and chill. Number one, no real estate taxes. One of the most important savings as a renter is that you never have to worry about property taxes, land transfer taxes, or stamp duty charges. Even though the actual amount you pay depends on whether you are a first-time home buyer, size of the property, location of the property, but trust me, it's not cheap. It's thousands of dollars every year. On an average, $3,000 to $5,000. And it's mandatory to pay this government all these taxes. If you keep defaulting on these taxes, the government will come at you and snatch that house from you to recover the taxes which is due. Second point, no maintenance cost or repair bills. One of the biggest benefits of renting a house is you really don't need to sweat about repair bills and property maintenance costs. If your refrigerator stops working, the dishwasher breaks down, the window has a crack, or your roof starts to leak, you just call the landlord. The landlord is required to fix or replace it. This means that when you rent a property, your landlord assumes full responsibility for all maintenance, improvement, and repairs. Based on the type of repair involved, this work can be really expensive. So as a landlord, it's better to keep aside some money to address these maintenance issues. General suggestion is to keep 1% of your home price aside every year. So for $1 million house, keep aside at least for the upkeep. And as a renter, you just pay the rent, call your landlord, and chill. The third advantage as a renter is the lower insurance cost. As a homeowner, it is mandatory to maintain a homeowner's insurance policy. And even as a renter, one is needed to maintain a renter's insurance policy. This insurance policy covers nearly everything inside the house, including furniture, computers, and all the various valuables that you have. However, in case of renter's insurance, it is way more cheaper than the homeowner's insurance. It's almost 70% cheaper compared to a home insurance. The next one is an important point to consider if you're not looking at it in this angle. Cost of credit. So what is it? We are used to hearing that paying rent is a sunken cost. If you think the rent you pay to provide shelter for your family is money down the drain, one needs to realize that if you're purchasing a house with a mortgage, you may not be paying rent to a landlord, but you are in fact paying rent to the bank in the form of mortgage interest. So this mortgage interest is a cost of credit, which is definitely dead money. Especially when the interest rates are high, the interest amount which you pay to the lender is a big cost on your personal balance sheet. It is just that as a renter, you are paying rent to borrow a roof on your head. However, as a homeowner, you're paying rent to borrow money so that you can put or buy a roof on your head. What else? What other debt costs do we need to look into when buying a house? Well, that takes us to point number 5. The closing cost. Whenever you buy or sell a house, you will be responsible to pay a standard set of fees and commission in order to successfully close the deal. The closing related expenses are termed as closing cost. The term closing cost usually accounts for legal fees, surveyor fees, realtor commissions, mortgage broker commissions, home inspection fee, home appraisal fee, lawyer fee, and all that moving cost. Even title search fee is included in that. On an average, closing cost is estimated at around 2% of the property value. So for a $1 million house, closing cost will be around $20,000, which you don't have to worry about when you are renting a house. Another thing we might have to consider is the opportunity cost of down payment. So whenever you buy a house, you need to have an amount set aside as a down payment to purchase that house. But as a renter, you don't have to worry about having to save a big chunk of your cash for down payment. You don't need to have a huge amount of wealth get stuck in a house. As a matter of fact, you can invest that additional money in the stock market with a better growth rate. You can use that extra money to upskill or for your higher education. You can even start a business with that money. There is a huge opportunity cost that you can take advantage of by renting a house instead of buying one. There's a whole array of alternative investment opportunities you can tap into by having access to that big chunk of cash instead of burying it in the house as a down payment. Alright, so up till now we discussed extensively about all the unrecoverable costs, the dead costs that a renter does not have to worry about to enjoy the convenience of a home. As a general rule of thumb, if you want to put a number on the amount of unrecoverable cost associated with buying a home versus renting a home, use the 5% rule. So what is this 5% rule? The annual recoverable cost of owning a home is approximately 5% of the property value, irrespective of whether you buy the house with a mortgage or without a mortgage. As a renter, you just need to make sure that your rent is lower than 5% of the comparable home. That simply means for $1 million house, the annual debt cost or the unrecoverable cost of buying is approximately $50,000 every year or $4,200 every month. If you can rent a similar house for lesser than this, you already have the answer. Renting is better than buying. Alright, this is all great things to consider before making a decision. What else? What other advantages does a renter have over buying a house? That takes us to point number 7, access to amenities. Another financial benefit of renting is having access to amenities that would otherwise be an enormous expense. Luxuries such as good swimming pool, a fitness center, pool table come standard at many mid-scale to upscale apartment complexes with no additional charge to tenants. If a homeowner wanted to have access to these amenities, these luxuries, they would likely have to spend thousands of dollars for installation and maintenance. The next point is about flexibility. Renters have the option to downsize or upgrade based on their needs and budget at the end of their lease. This kind of flexibility is a very big advantage. It's a big flex. But when you own a house, you cannot enjoy this flexibility to the same extent as that of a renter. Lastly, concerns about property value. Property values go up and down. Renters don't have to worry too much about the fluctuations as the rent is fixed at the beginning of the lease. However, these fluctuations in the market may still affect homeowners in a big way. If they are planning to enter or exit the housing market, they really need to worry about the fluctuations in property value. In short, in a rocky housing market, renters may not be adversely affected as homeowners. So renters win. Great. I think this is a good enough info to conclude as to renting is better than buying. For those who want to avoid the hassles associated with homeownership, the cost of upkeep, and the property taxes, renting might be a better option. What other factors can you think of when we say renting is better than buying? Type all that in the comment section below. In the next video, we can see why buying may be better than renting. So do subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications. Yes, that's right. There is no single right or wrong here. It all depends on multiple factors starting with your finances, the location, the property itself, and where you want to live, your lifestyle, and the current phase of life you're in. Thank you. Own your choices, own your freedom, own it with Rakesh.